Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey!
Marshall, I just want to thank you for your background, first off. I always acknowledge whatever you've done to your, green screen, and you are on the money today because we have a discussion that I think is going to be fun or a complete failure, and I can't wait to see which it is.
Oh, I'm excited just knowing that there's the potential for disaster. and the fact that both our listeners came back after viewing the last episode.
Which truly was a dumpster fire.
Oh, yeah. It was a dumpster fire in a petroleum plant. It was epic. Yeah. Dumpster fire, and the dumpster was filled with old spray cans. It was amazing.
And then a train wrecked. It was great.
Then a train hit the dumpster.
Well, I am a little proud of at least one thing, which is I have crafted the perfect Mark Ramsey title for a blog post. But I have to set that up. So we do have a point today. It involves 90 million units sold, 250 million online customers, 32 million subscribing customers to an online service. And I'm of course talking about Nintendo. Nintendo has, this is as of the fall, they have just a huge customer base for their new Switch platform, their latest, video game system. And they have all these online subscribers, and they finally have released some demographic data, and they're basically grown-ups. We're talking like a little bit of the eldest of Gen Z, all of Gen Y, some of the youngest of Gen X are the main base of their Nintendo Switch users. So we're talking about like something that has led to a lot of money to be made, which is how do you get these folks engaged and loyal as customers? And I think I have figured it out with a particular game that is just so weird. It is featured in your background, and I'm of course talking about Animal Crossing. So, and Mike, you said that you were really, I really thought your daughter might have been primo target for Animal Crossing in an earlier iteration, but no, huh?
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, we were Wizard 101 family, and then she did some zoo thing, and then Animal Crossing may have shown up, but I don't think she ever took a deep dive into it. So I'm fascinated and then when you told me that you were going to a 12-step program for the Animal Crossing, then yes, yeah, I knew about your Warhammer problem,
Right.
situation, phenomena, whatever you want to call it. No idea about your Animal Crossing issues as well.
Well, I'm enough of a geek that I knew about Animal Crossing, and then I brought it into my house. And then what I didn't, this is when I sort of knew something was up, is my wife, who like literally was a member of a sorority, like not a geek, like the opposite of a geek, opposites attract kind of thing with me. She is more interested than I am. Like she needs to get on Animal Crossing at night and go fishing and do some of the things you do in Animal Crossing. So I'll just give the briefest summary of this game. Basically, you're a cutesy little guy or gal who has moved to an island inhabited by anthropomorphic creatures, talking raccoons and so on, like Mickey Mouse style. And you live on this island. You buy a house from a raccoon named Tom Nook, who gives you a loan. And then you spend the rest of the game paying off that loan by fishing and selling your fish, planting fruit trees, harvesting fruit. What else can you do? You dig up fossils to put in the museum, and then you sell the extra fossils. And, you buy stuff with it to furnish your house. you eventually expand your house, which of course requires another loan from Tom Nook, the raccoon, and starts the whole process over again. Mike, that's the game. I have just told you what happens in this game. There's no end to it. You just keep enhancing your island, enhancing your house, and going in debt. It's like real life, but somehow they've made it cutesy, fun, and addictive. That's the game. Welcome to Animal Crossing.
So at what chapter, what level do the marauding hordes of Vikings land in your island?
I'm glad you brought that up. There is no fighting.
War?
Yeah, no. There's no fighting at all. Not against the computer, not against a player, nothing. Yeah. It is a stressless game in that sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems idyllic.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because here's my perfect little blog post title, and we'll link to this, I'm sure, in the show notes. It made me think of an Ernest Hemingway short story that I had to read in high school called A Clean, Well-Lighted Place. And it's about this old man who drinks too much and stays too late at a cafe, and the waiters are talking about him, and blah blah blah. Long story short, they one of the guys realizes that the cafe is what everybody needs. This old man has a clean, well-lighted place in which to while away his hours as he, in existential dread, awaits the coming death and nothingness that will inhabit his end. So if you pull back about 3 degrees from darkness and just talk about, maybe our world is a little chaotic right now. We all are distracted and very busy and lots of stress. And I could log on to Animal Crossing tonight and go fishing and say hi to Tom Nook and some of the other people that live in my village, and they're all going to be kind. And there's going to be some things for me to do, and there are some things that they have figured out with Animal Crossing that really apply. So I entitled, if you're ready for this, I entitled my blog post, A Clean, Well-Lighted Metaverse.
Aww.
You're welcome.
Hemingway would have been so proud.
He would have been disgusted. But
he would have killed himself sooner.
No doubt.
It's time to take my life after reading this blog post title.
No doubt. I would not be surprised by that either. But anyway, I've noticed some things that Nintendo and the game designers have done that I think apply to any business that is interested in, I really, want to stress, I don't think that there is nothingness and death awaiting all of us, and that's it. I think there is redemption to be had. There is eternity to look forward to. And all of our businesses and organizations really can add value to the world, right? And have, I would say, eternal impact. But all that to say, your business really could be an oasis for people with some very simple observations I've noticed from Animal Crossing. So I want to share, let's see, I've got 5 of them, Mike, to take us home. So
wow, 5 lessons from Animal Crossing.
Lessons or things that you're going to laugh at and say, why are we recording this? But let's see what happens. Let's just go with it and see what happens.
I'm down, homie. Bring it up.
Okay. All right. Number 1, whatever your customer experience, make it to some degree predictable. And what I mean by that is some sort of enjoyable rhythm to the day. A Buc-ee's gas station opened up near me recently. And you talk about a predictable and enjoyable rhythm. You're going to get greeted as you come in the door. You know that when you step around the food preparation area, they're going to be cutting up brisket, and the guy cutting up the brisket is going to yell out something, and all the staff are going to join in and yell back at him whatever it is he said. You're going to come to a clean bathroom. There are some things, almost some rituals, you might even say, that are going to happen through the course of that event. We could talk about a lot of companies, Chick-fil-A, and how they're always going to say my pleasure. Some things that you come to look forward to that are predictable parts of your customer experience.
So you're saying if a business came up with maybe a franchise model and wanted to take it around the world, it could be successful.
There seems to be a little bit of a trend in that regard, and notice which ones are trending better, right? Like you could, man, I'm not going to bring up any names because I don't want to make anybody mad, but there are franchises out there that, like, they just sell you the product, right? They just have you license the product, but there's no experience to go along with it. So yeah, if you want a commodity, come on down to, Joe Blow, franchised fast food. But if you'd like an experience, then you probably go to a place like Chick-fil-A, because they've engineered that.
Well, just to, take up the counterpoint here,
Please.
sometimes the lack of experience is the experience.
Yeah.
So I go to, let's say it's a pale castle-like building that makes little tiny square hamburgers. I go there because there's not much there. I'm not expecting delightful service. I'm not expecting cleanliness. I'm expecting just, here's a bag of burgers and the grease is dripping out the bottom. And that's part of the ritual.
I let me see if I can run with that, or maybe it's more that you have runs. Anyway, the point is, I think I kind of, I'm going to give a counterpoint. Some would say that that's what Waffle House is, and I would argue that part of the ritual of Waffle House is they know. Well, first off, if you've ever been to a Waffle House, please don't ever play the Waffle House songs on the jukebox. I mean, those poor people, I mean, their eyes get twitchy. But the thing that I know I'll always get is a very authentic server and cook who are just living life, trying to survive. And they're very humble about it and a lot of fun, typically, in their very unique colloquial way. So maybe that's, the unexperience is an experience, I guess, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. And so, yeah, some places I want all the stuff. I want to be overwhelmed, my sights and senses and everything just be overwhelmed. And other places, I purposely want to be underwhelmed. And that's part of the beauty of that particular place.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. So, so some sort of ritual, some sort of expectation that you come in having about the experience, that there will be a predictable, enjoyable rhythm to it. Something along those lines. Okay. Point number 2 is allow that experience to be customized. So in Animal Crossing, there are things I'm doing to make my island my island. I'm going to plant trees over here, flowers over here. I'm going to put the bridge here. This is where I'm going to put the campsite where we attract new residents to visit our island. There's a whole series of things you do to customize it. You even get to customize the town hall flag for your island. Yeah.
Get my own flag?
You get your own flag. It's true. So with that being said, I think that's, any business can let us sort of know how we'd like to interact with them and customize the experience a little bit. The example that always comes to mind for me is something as simple as when my wait staff or even my service advisor comes to memorize my beverage of choice, and it gets clunked down on the table. You and I had that experience whenever it was it last week? I can't even remember. During the pre-dumpster fire, shortly before the dumpster fire, we went and had sushi, and it was a cold day. I got green tea, and the waiter said, "Whoa, that is a switch for you," because he's used to me having club soda, right? Well, that felt good. It felt really nice that he, knew my customization, and he always plunks that down when I walk in the door by myself. So it feels good to be able to tailor the experience a little bit. Anything come to mind for you on that?
Well, I think it's tailored, and within the the customization, you offer choices, but not too many. You can overwhelm the customer with a myriad of choices, but Like I remember I walked into the Tiffany jewelry store because I was lost, and the lady, and
Looking for breakfast?
yeah,
Sorry.
and so I prefer, this is a quirk of me, I prefer room temperature water. I don't like cold water to drink. And so I walked into Tiffany's and the concierge type person said, welcome and all that. And she said, may I get you some water? And I said, well, that would be lovely. And she goes, cold or room temperature?
Ooh.
Oh. So yeah. So instead of just like heaping the water on me, I had a choice. I can customize the experience down to the temperature of the water.
I love that. I love that.
I was over the moon excited.
Yeah. And by the way, I love room temperature water as well. That's my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Definitely.
Okay. Third observation, celebrate at every possible excuse. On Animal Crossing, there's like some sort of weird event, every third weekend or something. We recently celebrated Bunny Day. Before that, there was a fishing tournament. Things that just are excuses for them to have some special event that gets you to come back to the island, right? To get you to log in. On Bunny Day, or I guess it was the leading up to Bunny Day. So Passion Week basically is what I'm saying. Before Easter, when my Lord and Savior rose from the grave, I checked in at Animal Crossing to meet up with the bunny who visited the island, because I had been collecting Easter eggs all Passion Week that were hidden on the island. And if I gave him one of each kind, I got a special, prize, a virtual prize in my clean, well-lighted metaverse that has no bearing on anything whatsoever. And yet I still showed up to play this doggone game because they had made a big deal about, something fun is coming. So you and I work with car dealerships. We know stores that are the masters of this, right? There's always a good reason to have people come in this weekend or this weekday, something that they can celebrate or make a deal about. Check your community calendar, for goodness sake, and see if there's something you can tie to where there's something fun or just special that's happening at a certain time.
Oh yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, and I see it out there. And my theory on this is you have the celebration, and not everybody's going to come to the celebration. The beauty of the celebration is you want to invite as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I invite you to the party and you choose not to attend, you still think more highly of me for inviting you to the party. So this is and it's a wonderful excuse to contact the people in your world. Your
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I didn't want to bother you, but we're having a little food, having the food trucks come over, bouncy house, come on down and have some barbecue, and it'll be fantastic. Oh, I'm going to be out of town that week. Oh, that's a shame. Well, you'll be missed. But now they have this good feeling when they think about me.
Yeah.
Even though, I didn't have to give them any barbecue.
Right. That's a really good point about feeling more valued because you were invited, like that, just a little special thing that you've done for a customer even then. Okay, so there's two more, and they're sort of like overarching over everything we've talked about. The first is just the general idea of surprise and delight, right? Most of the things that I've talked about are sort of, oh, that was nice moments. And I guess I could keep going on and on about how Animal Crossing does this, that this is sort of what they specialize in, frankly. One that hadn't happened to me yet, but did a couple weeks ago was was he a stork or a seagull? I guess it must have been a seagull. A seagull washed up on the shore, and he's marooned because of a shipwreck. And I need to help him collect parts on the island for his radio so he can contact his crew. That's it. Who's that guy? What's he doing here? And then he sent me on a mission, and then I got a prize because I helped him out. And I mean, just something so simple as that. And I'm not going to say their name, but there are used car operations out there that do things like, when you open your gas cap for the first time to pump gas, a gas card falls out. Oh, I didn't know I was going to get, $20, in addition to the car. I mean, simple little things like that. It doesn't need to be much, but it's something that gives you just that nice moment of, I didn't expect that, and I liked it.
Well, it's interesting because it's the game, instead of giving you an object that has value in your metaverse, they provided you with an opportunity to help someone. And
Right.
I can't remember who said it, but yeah, it might have been Einstein. He said those who are the happiest are those who have found a way to serve others.
Hmm.
And so they know that by helping this, terribly, distraught, seagull, that
Right.
yeah, that will release oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine into your bloodstream. And so
that's it. That's right.
yeah,
that's exactly right.
So yeah, the common model would be just to give you something. Their model would be allow you to help somebody, allow you to fully engage and to help someone.
I think you nailed it. And I will say that part of what makes, this whole thing worth it, this really ties into the final point, which is, I say honor dignity. We've talked about that before, but it's just the general principle that, this is going to be a kind place. We're going to make this a kind environment. There's and you can see some screenshots in the blog post, but I just crack up. You can go to town hall and you can talk to the secretary that helps run the town. And she's this cute little dog. And you can talk to her about another resident, because remember all that customization I mentioned? What if you invited one of your friends, or your kid invited one of his buddies to come visit your island, in this little clean, well-lighted metaverse, and they made a Nazi flag and customized your flag with a Nazi symbol on it. Or there's a way that you can teach, sort of like catchphrases to different residents. What if they taught them a slur? You'd want to deal with that, right? And so the secretary, literally, there's a prompt on the conversation menu with her where you can say, I'd like to talk about a resident. And she goes, oh no, has someone said something? And she'll go take care of that issue so that doesn't infect your clean, well-lighted metaverse, right? So that's just, a little over the top. None of us want a big brother policing, the whole environment. But I do think that there's room for all of us to just make sure, we'll post the Dignity podcast that we released, I guess it was last year, where we really talked about this idea of, making sure we're treating people, customers and employees, like they're worth something, and making that to be the norm. And this is how you do it. And this is sort of what it looks like to do it here. And you can tell places that get that, because you get that feeling when you walk in the door, right? They know how to look you in the eye. They know how to smile and make you feel welcome. Make sure you get helped. So it's nothing more than that. But I think that one might be the most difficult of all that we've talked about, because instead of engineering an experience, you're talking about engineering a culture. But the environment wouldn't be the same on that metaverse without it, and it wouldn't be the same in your experience without it. So that's why I make it one of the 5 items.
No, I think that's huge, and it's creating this safe place. I was in a store yesterday and we were having a conversation, and it was some managers and some team members. We were all standing around, and one of the team members went on a rant about parenting, and how every child should be able to have their home should be a refuge from the world. They should be able to go home and feel safe and feel respected and not be belittled. And yeah, you can have rules and accountability, but we should maintain their dignity. Right. And everybody's nodding their head. Yeah, that makes sense. We're all for children having that kind of space. And then one of the managers, after a pause, he says, I think everyone should have a workplace like that too.
That's exactly right.
Like,
dead on.
Yep. It was crazy cool.
And that's the reason that we think this is a I think this is a podcast episode worth having, is we have trouble finding customers. We have trouble finding employees. And these are the things that make your organization sticky, right? These are the things that attract people and make them want to come back. I don't know all the businesses of the listeners. We make the joke about, both listeners. But we have people that are kind of far flung in different aspects of life and professional careers that are listening to this thing at this point. And I think that everything we talked about applies no matter where you work, right? Where you shop, if you want to say it that way. Mm-hmm. So I guess let me summarize the 5 again, just to wrap us up. Give your experience a predictable, enjoyable rhythm. Allow customization of that experience. Celebrate at every possible excuse. Surprise and delight. And honor dignity, and do it in some tangible ways is really what we're saying, a way that people can know what it looks like. So those are the 5 items. I think they really will help people to hold on to people longer. So that's what I came to the table with today, Mike.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm excited and relieved that there was a point, and there was 5 of them. That's even better. So yeah, that was fantastic. And as you were talking, all I'm picturing in my head is Jim Carrey in the Truman Show. Only all the characters on the island, was it Sea Haven? All the characters are animals, and there's Jim kind of navigating through the world, and it's pretty idyllic. It's pretty safe, and yeah, we're just figuring out how to get through it and how to make it more interesting, more attractive, and to get people to, as you've so aptly stated with your data, to get them to become not only loyal but advocates of this particular world.
Right. And by the way, we don't want a world like Animal Crossing, right? We don't want to live in Sea Haven where we're constantly big brothered and we have a social credit system to make sure we're being nice to everybody. That's not what we're asking. We're basically saying that the world is messy. A lot of parents, let alone children, don't have a place of refuge. And maybe your customer experience is a little bit of an oasis, a little bit of a refuge for your employees as well as your customers. So we hope this helps.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think the test would be if somebody says your organization or business name, is the person who hears it, is their first instinct to smile. That's how you know it's working.
Yep. Great final word.
Fantastic. Speaking of somebody who brings smiles to the world,
he is an oasis, really. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a beacon of light in my otherwise dreary little life. Let's hear what our announcer, Mr. Wolf, has to say.
And that, I guess, is that. It doesn't take a genius. No rights reserved, nothing trademarked, copyrighted, or even original. Feel free to give it to anyone, anytime, using any and all media formats. Warning, Mark and Mike may or may not make another one. I'm your announcer, and I did not get paid a nickel to do this. They won't even let me tell you my name. So until next time, if there is a next time, stay safe. Be well.
That's good enough.